World War II remains the largest and most devastating conflict in human history, shaping geopolitics for decades. While countless books and studies have covered this period, many surprising facts and little-known stories remain hidden, revealing the hidden connections and sheer chaos of the time. From unbelievable acts of heroism and bizarre coincidences that altered battles, to technological innovations that changed warfare forever, I'm Matthew, and today we're looking at 25 fascinating facts about World War II, featuring epic tales, key figures, crucial weapons, and pivotal events. World War II officially began on September 1st, 1939, with the German invasion of Poland. Germany deployed a new, devastating military doctrine, Blitzkrieg, or lightning war. This strategy relied on the rapid advance of armored divisions and motorized infantry, heavily supported by air power, designed to swiftly punch through enemy lines and paralyze their defense. In stark contrast, the Polish army often relied on vastly outdated equipment. Some units were still using bicycles for transport to the front lines. Blitzkrieg was often unstoppable, but not always. The Battle of Wisna proved this. Just 700 Polish soldiers, fortified in well-protected bunkers, faced an overwhelming German force of 42,000 soldiers, supported by tanks and heavy artillery. Despite the crushing numerical superiority, the Polish defenders held the German advance for 3 full days, inflicting significant casualties. The battle is often called the Polish Thermopylae. For the defenders, incredible courage and resolve, though almost all were eventually killed or captured. Later in 1939, the Soviet Union demanded territory from Finland near Leningrad. When the Finns refused, the Soviets invaded on November 30th, 1939, initiating the Winter War. Despite being massively outnumbered and out-equipped, the Finnish soldiers, led by Field Marshal Carl Gustaf Emil Mannerheim, inflicted catastrophic losses on the Soviets. They used mobile defense tactics, their deep knowledge of the terrain, and most crucially, skis for rapid movement through the snowy forests. The Finnish army caused losses 4 times greater than their own, securing their independence at the cost of territorial concessions in March 1940. During the war, Japan developed various types of suicide weapons, including the manned suicide torpedoes known as kaiten, meaning the heaven shaker. Developed from 1942, the Type 1 kaiten was essentially a modified Type 93 torpedo, adapted to be piloted by a single volunteer. Launched from mother submarines near the target, the pilot had to guide the kaiten into an enemy vessel. They were highly ineffective weapons, leading to immense losses on the Japanese side, with nearly 1,000 sailors perishing, including the crews of the mother subs. Early 1940 was dubbed the Blitzkrieg, or Sitting War, a phase of relative calm on the Western Front, where neither side seemed to plan a major offensive, but Germany was secretly preparing a game-changer. The main German assault was directed through the Ardennes forest, an area the Allies considered impassable for tanks due to its rugged terrain. The Allies essentially left this sector undefended. The Germans not only punched through the Ardennes, but completely shattered Allied defenses, leading to the rapid fall of France within weeks. Another example of German shock and innovation was the capture of the Belgian fort Eben-Emael, considered one of Europe's strongest fortresses. It featured massive concrete fortifications and a garrison of over 600 men. Instead of a traditional ground assault, the Germans used paratroopers and gliders, a completely new tactic. A small group of about 80 German soldiers landed silently atop the fort, using gliders, seizing the complex within hours. It was a legendary display of how surprise can overcome even the most modern defenses. World War II was the first and, so far, only conflict where nuclear weapons were used. The US dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the final weeks of the war to force Japan's unconditional surrender and avoid a costly invasion. The devastation was instant and immense, leading to the deaths of 90,000 to 166,000 people in Hiroshima and 60,000 to 80,000 in Nagasaki. One of the few people to survive both nuclear attacks was Tsutomu Yamaguchi. He was in Hiroshima on a business trip for the first blast on August 6, 1945. He then returned to his hometown of Nagasaki, only to experience the second attack on August 9. Despite severe injuries and deadly radiation exposure, Yamaguchi survived to the age of 93 and is the only person officially recognized by the Japanese government as a Niju Hibakusha double exposure survivor. A tragic fact is the significant number of American pilots who died during training due to the rapid expansion of air forces and insufficient safety measures. It's estimated that up to 15,000 US pilots died during training alone between 1939 and 1945. The consolidated B-24 Liberator, the most produced bomber in history, saw the highest number of training fatalities. Though technologically advanced, its crews often nicknamed it the Flying Coffin due to challenging flight characteristics combined with the low experience level of trainees. The V3 cannon, also known as the Vergeltungswaffe 3, Retribution Weapon 3, was a German supercannon designed to shell London from continental Europe. This multi-chamber gun, with a barrel approximately 130 meters long, used sequential explosive charges in side chambers to accelerate the projectile. The theoretical range was a staggering 165 kilometers. Two massive V3 batteries, each with 25 cannons permanently aimed at London, were built into the chalk cliffs of Pas-de-Calais. However, Allied air raids destroyed the installations before completion. The V3 was never used for its intended purpose. In 1942, Polish soldiers moving from Iran to Palestine encountered an orphaned Syrian brown bear cub. The bear was eventually gifted to the 22nd Artillery Supply Company of the 2nd Polish Corps and named Wojtek, Joyful Warrior. Wojtek was initially fed condensed milk from an empty vodka bottle, which probably contributed to his later tastes. He grew fond of fruit, marmalade, honey, and his favorite drink, beer. He also reportedly smoked or ate cigarettes and drank morning coffee. He slept with soldiers for warmth, loved to wrestle, and learned to salute. When the unit needed to ship to Italy, British regulations forbade mascots. To bypass this, Wojtek was officially enlisted in the Polish army as a private with his own service number and paybook. During the Battle of Monte Cassino, Wojtek helped carry heavy crates of 45-kilogram artillery shells. This service earned him a promotion to corporal, and his image carrying a shell became the official emblem of the 22nd Company. After the war, Wojtek was transferred to the Edinburgh Zoo, where he lived until his death in 1963. Former comrades often visited him and tossed him cigarettes. Mahatma Gandhi wrote 2 letters to the German dictator, pleading for peace and the avoidance of a world war. The first, dated July 23, 1939, began with the salutation, "Dear friend." Gandhi appealed to the dictator's conscience to prevent a war that would plunge humanity into barbarism. A second, more detailed letter followed on December 24, 1940, again starting with "Dear friend." Gandhi stressed his philosophy of non-violence and urged an end to the conflict. It is unclear if either letter ever reached their recipient, as British colonial authorities may have intercepted them. Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS and one of the most powerful men in Nazi Germany, was briefly appointed commander of Army Group Vistula. In 1945, the role was far beyond his capabilities. He only worked a few hours a day, often requiring massages and long sleep. As the situation deteriorated, he abandoned his post and attempted to negotiate a surrender with the Allies. When Hitler learned of this, he stripped Himmler of all rank and ordered his arrest. Himmler tried to escape under a false identity but was captured by British troops on May 22, 1945. During his interrogation, he committed suicide by swallowing a cyanide capsule. The sheer volume of Allied production capacity, primarily from the US and the USSR, was a critical factor in the war's outcome. The Allies simply outproduced the Axis powers, Germany, Japan, and Italy. The United States became the arsenal of democracy, quickly converting civilian factories, with companies like Ford mass-producing the B-24 Liberator, and shipyards churning out simple Liberty ships to keep supply lines open. Strategic bombing, attacks targeting cities, factories, and supply lines, was widespread. However, not all attacks were successful, sometimes leading to bizarre situations. A prime example was Japan's attempt to bomb the US mainland using balloon bombs, Fugo, in late 1944. These were hydrogen-filled balloons carrying incendiary bombs, designed to be carried across the Pacific by the jet stream. The goal was to ignite massive forest fires in the US, to damage infrastructure and disrupt the war effort. Thousands were launched, but only about 300 were confirmed to have reached North America. Most caused no damage, though a few tragic, isolated incidents resulted in civilian deaths. The attacks had virtually no impact on the war. In an incredibly rare case, a Russian pilot, having bailed out of his damaged plane in January 1942, fell 6,000 meters, nearly 20,000 feet, after losing consciousness and failing to open his parachute. He landed on a snow-covered slope which cushioned the impact. Despite suffering serious injuries, the pilot survived, recovered, and flew until the end of the war. Similar, medically miraculous falls were recorded by American and British airmen. The Soviet Union formed the 588th Night Bomber Aviation Regiment, composed exclusively of young female volunteers aged 17 to 22, nicknamed the Night Witches, Nachthexen, by the Germans. They flew slow, vulnerable Polikarpov Po-2 biplanes, originally intended for training. These planes were ideal for low-altitude night attacks due to their low noise profile. To avoid detection, the pilots would often cut their engines before reaching the target and glide in, creating a faint sound described as a rustling broom, hence the nickname. Despite limited equipment, the Night Witches executed approximately 24,000 combat missions during the war, with 23 members awarded the highest decoration, Hero of the Soviet Union. The US experimented with a highly unusual weapon known as the bat bomb. Conceived in 1942 by dentist Lytle S. Adams, the concept involved using bats as carriers for tiny incendiary devices. Each large bomb casing would contain over 1,000 hibernating Mexican free-tailed bats with small, timed incendiary charges attached. Released from a plane, the bats would wake up, fly, and seek refuge in the wooden and paper structures of Japanese cities. The timed charges would then ignite, starting massive, simultaneous fires. The project was eventually cancelled in favor of the Manhattan Project, but not before test bats accidentally caused a fire at an airbase, proving the weapon's destructive potential. The British Special Operations Executive (SOE), established in 1940 to conduct espionage and sabotage in occupied countries, devised an innovative sabotage method using dead rats filled with plastic explosives. The plan was to place these explosive-filled rats near German boiler rooms. Workers would likely toss the dead vermin into the coal furnace, causing an explosion that would severely damage the boiler and disrupt factory operations. While the first shipment was intercepted by the Germans, leading to widespread and time-consuming searches for the rat bombs, the SOE considered the diversion of German resources a success. The Soviet Union introduced an unusual tactic against German tanks: anti-tank dogs. Dogs were trained to run under enemy tanks with explosives strapped to their backs. A vertical pin on the explosive charge would hit the tank's belly, detonating the charge. The training involved keeping the dogs hungry and placing their food under stationary Soviet tanks, which had diesel engines. The problem arose in combat. German tanks had gasoline engines and sounded and smelled different. Confused by the noise and scent, the dogs often ran under their own Soviet tanks, forcing handlers to shoot the returning dogs to prevent friendly fire. Despite thousands being deployed, the tactic's low effectiveness led to its gradual discontinuation. Special forces played a key role on both sides. In mid-1943, Hitler ordered the rescue of his ally, Benito Mussolini, who had been arrested by his own people following the Allied invasion of Italy. Mussolini was held under tight guard at the remote mountain resort of Campo Imperatore in the Apennine Mountains. Colonel Otto Skorzeny, an SS officer and special operations expert, was tasked with the mission. Skorzeny and his paratroopers executed an incredible glider assault, landing directly on the mountain summit, surprising the guards. The operation, codenamed Operation Oak, Unternehmen Eiche, was swift, casualty-free, and a major success for German special forces. One of the strangest moments of World War II was the battle for Castle Itter in May 1945. It is perhaps the only known instance of American and German soldiers fighting side by side against a common enemy. Castle Itter was a Nazi prison holding prominent French detainees, including former prime ministers and tennis champion Jean Borotra. With the collapse of the Third Reich, SS units loyal to the Nazi regime threatened to execute the prisoners. A small group of American soldiers, led by Captain John Lee, teamed up with Major Josef Gangl, a Wehrmacht officer who secretly opposed Nazism, and his handful of German soldiers. They fortified the castle and prepared for battle against a larger Waffen SS unit approaching the castle. The defenders held out until American reinforcements arrived. Major Gangl tragically died while defending one of the French prisoners, but his courage became a symbol of humanity amidst the war's chaos. Native American tribes played a crucial role in securing military communications. Most famously, members of the Navajo Nation used their native language to create an unbreakable military code. The Navajo language is exceptionally complex, has no common written form, and was known only within the tribe. In 1942, the U.S. Marine Corps recruited Navajo men to develop a cipher system based on their language, creating the Navajo Code Talkers. They developed direct Navajo equivalents for military terms, e.g., turtle for tank, bird for plane. The code was fast and secure. Japanese cryptanalysts were completely unable to break it because they had no idea the language even existed. Their service was crucial in key Pacific battles, including Iwo Jima. The war spanned 6 years, involved over 30 countries, and mobilized more than 100 million people. The total death toll is estimated to be between 70 and 85 million people, roughly 3% of the world population at the time. The vast majority were civilians, including an estimated 6 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust. These 25 facts only scratch the surface of the complexity and sheer scale of World War II. It was a conflict defined by both unimaginable brutality and incredible human courage. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Did you know the story of the soldier bear or the bad bombs? Let me know in the comments below.